We also see a lot of benefits by meaningful and senseful integrating AI in core products. So where we see a big leverage and a benefit also for our customer is to, within the onboarding, to assess the current state and also to help navigating through the structuring, clean out and update processing. It's kind of annoying about all of the master data, product data, specifications, methods, to update that, consolidate it, and then configure the OneLimbs platform on the industry standard and on the customer requirements. So to make setup even more straightforward and also to make it more autodidactic, that the customer can upload their documents through the wizard and OneLimbs get then configured on their own.
Welcome to the Founders Cookbook podcast, where B2B founders share the secret recipe behind their success. I'm Patrick here, helping B2B companies improve their conversion. Today, I'm joined by Philipp Osterwalder, CEO and co-founder at OneLimbs. Philipp, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you very much for having me, Patrick. It's very nice to be here today and share some background from laboratory digitalization.
Nice. I'm glad to have you here because that's a market we don't hear often, and I'm really excited to hear what you have to say about OneLimbs and what you are doing there. So maybe just to start, for our listeners who don't know you, could you introduce yourself and share a bit of your background?
Yes, for sure. My name is Philipp Osterwalder, already introduced. I'm a laboratory technician by heart. I came out of pharma, worked meanwhile 20 plus years in quality control, quality assurance, and also R&D, firstly in pharma manufacturing companies, and then also all around in Switzerland in food production companies. They're also in R&D. I have a lot of experience in quality system setup, quality control overall, testing products, worked a lot with paper forms and Excel. Some 10 years ago, I came up with the idea. I think we go later into the overall all challenges and pain points, but came up with the idea to develop a straightforward lean LIMS, laboratory information management system, for quality control and quality assurance.
Okay, so you're coming from that background, and 10 years ago, if I remember correctly, that's where you co-founded OneLimbs. What was the difference between your background in pharma and what you saw in the food and beverage industry? As you said, that was a lot of Excel sheet and maybe paper. So
Yeah.
what was, if you can just introduce what problem OneLimbs is solving, and then we can take the discussion from here.
Yeah, for sure. So as mentioned, I came out of a heavily regulated environment in a quality control out of pharma, where all the processes are standardized. Most of the systems, the software systems are connected, like the analytical equipment we used in quality control are connected to already pharma LIMS, and out of the pharma LIMS are connected to the ERP. And this the other way around is also or was connected to MES production system. So overall, all the quality data, product data and production data were centralized and traceable, structured, kept and managed at one specific point. What makes happen to also use that data for better product insights, for production insights, for improvements. And after my time in pharma, I studied environmental engineering at the University of Applied Science. And by side, I have to need some money and worked at several food and beverage companies. And looked into their quality control was like day and night related to the pharma quality control. And food is more unregulated for sure, is unstructured. I mentioned also before I worked a lot with paper and Excel. It was kind of a mess, and also worked more stressy. So also the communication wasn't that straightforward. It was more about between the lines because all of the employees worked on their limits, a lot of part-time employees, and there was a lot of errors and media breaks in between. No connectivity between systems, not that standardized as out of pharma. And that's kind of the burning thought related to an audit preparation within a food company. We used near 1.5 months, so 6 weeks before the audit to prepare everything, to get the standard documentation done, to follow up for signatures, for make everything approved, validated some Excel sheets during nights, work on weekends to get everything done shiny for just 1 day audit. And that's make me sleepless nights. And where I clicked something totally wrong in all of the quality control in food and beverage. And then I switched the role in another company, more quality assurance, quality management, and the same happened. And another job in another food company, and totally the same happened. And then I start reaching out through LinkedIn to co-partners and other quality managers. And I saw that most of the companies, even globally, still rely on paper and Excel and has a lot of effort, or put a lot of effort and time into audit preparation still today.
Okay, so it was even 10 years ago.
Yes.
10 years ago, in 2016, those companies for quality assurance, quality control were still relying on paper and Excel sheet.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
And it's still the same. So we didn't have less work.
Yeah, you have the right. So basically, you transpose all the process of what you saw and what you lived from that pharma environment, which where it was heavily regulated. So you transpose that to basically another market, which are maybe less regulated, but where everything relied on paper, Excel sheet, and where you had to do a lot of manual work. And manual work, I think we all know, equals errors, equal inefficiency. So that was the genesis of company, of the idea behind OneLimbs, right?
Yes, correct.
All right. But so yeah, that's still surprising that we are still relying on paper even 10 years ago. It's like, okay. So can you explain how did you start the company basically? Was it product led? Or was it really trying to find the early customer and then build the product? Or you start by building the product and then start finding customer, early tester or early client?
I was doing my studies at the University of Applied Science. I met another guy, Alban Mühle, and he introduced me to some friends of him. They have a digital agency in Zurich called Modeso, Mobile Device Solution. Had already some collaborations and customers all around Switzerland. And I pitched my idea overall and explained it also. And the first response was, that's a totally unsexy business, but we like it.
Yeah.
So you can have a leverage there, and we see the pain point. I activated my laboratory network in Switzerland and called 50 companies overall, quality managers. 15 roundabout of them was interested and invited us for a pitch. And within round about 2 weeks, we developed a clickable prototype, which and try to prepare a pitch deck to present the main pain points, the solution, how we're going to tackle it, and the overall quantified benefits, what they can expect from an onboarding or implementation of the first OneLimbs platform. But we didn't have any kind of prototype yet, just a very stiff clickable prototype and a demo which we prepared together. Out of these 15 pitches we had, 2 of them were highly interested and we created the offer, and 1 approved it and is a very big meat producer in eastern Switzerland. And by then we started in the background to, out of this clickable prototype, to develop the real prototype, the MVP, just for this 1 customer. And they get fans of us. So how we introduce them, how we roll it up, how we make the training, the onboarding structured. So our pilot partner, first of all, brought us to 21 other subsidiaries of this first pilot customer. And then it starts rolling out in Switzerland. So we gain traction all about that. Also to have a very rapid onboarding. LIMS is not a new, so it's not a new invention from us. There is out of pharma since the 80s. Is LIMS a well-known term like ERP or MES, but we make it more faster for implementation. Probably you know it by yourself that a lot of ERP integrations takes a lot of time. It takes longer than it was expected, and it costs more money than it was planned. And they're kind of already biased out of this. And we tried to reduce the onboarding time for LIMS because it's kind of an operation on an open heart. During operations, you have to implement a quality control system and integrate it as fast as possible. So we make that streamlined and broke it down to 1 to 3 months onboarding with training, with configuration, with templates to prepare and import all your master data to make it ready as soon as possible and that the operations can ongo.
Okay, can you walk me through how you, because that's an interesting topic, because you have already an operations, and I think for those customers, the production line needs to keep running. Can you walk me through how you work at that customer for that onboarding and for insert your new solution without disrupting the production line? And can you just walk me through the process of implementing OneLIMS at a new customer who is using still paper and Excel?
Yes. So for that, I give you a little bit more background because we started just by implementing the OneLIMS solution. And then we quantified some KPIs before the onboarding, the usage of OneLIMS. So how they still work with Excel and paper, and counted, for instance, the sample life cycle, the time, how much time it used to create a sample label, to write it down, to handle overall a sample, the overall capacity planning of an lab tech in the lab itself, the capacity of the devices, and so on. So we defined together with the client some KPIs before the implementation and 6 months after the usage of OneLIMS. And we saw that there is a gain in efficiency, but based on my experience, we expected some higher gains and a faster return of investment. At that time, it was over a year, so 1 to 1.5 year of return on investment. And then we thought, so most other LIMS vendors and software vendors do it as they sell the software as a standard software and then customize it for a lot of money to the processes of their customers. So they need to adapt. The standard software is kind of payable, is okay for the price, but what's get then even on the software licenses as well is to customize it, to integrate it and adapt it to the processes of the customer itself. And what I see also that most companies grown organically and didn't have the most best streamlined processes overall. So they have very vague and complex and not standardized complex processes. And so we came up to predefine and provide a service based on Lean Six Sigma, Lean Management and Six Sigma, to assess firstly the current state of the customer. This is what we still do. We introduced 4 years after the launch because we saw that there is something in between the lines that we didn't hit so far, and we can increase the productivity overall of the quality management team. So we introduced the assessment based on Lean Six Sigma. We do multi-moment analysis. We do value stream map to see exactly from raw material entry through production, semi-processed till the end product, to calculate everything and see where the value gains and where it gets lost, how many waste they produce, how many analysis they do, how much time they burn on manual data handling overall. Based on that, also we will publish the Lab Digitalization Report 2026 with over 120 lab leaders all about Europe. And based on there, we see that on average in quality control, overall, the quality control laboratory team spends or burns around about 30 to 50% of their daily time on manual data handling. And if you multiply that by the salary and by the amount of employees, you will get a big number. And this is kind of the money gets wasted. And we always say, based on experience and also our case studies, we can reduce that to below 10% per person. To have it integrated, structured, traceable for audits, compliance in that sense of the database, and have it also automated. As soon as you can integrate to ERP, MES, logistics systems, you can automate end to end. And there is where we started and also where we have the biggest leverage to have on the chart between efficiency and effectiveness. First, we look at the processes, onboard them and structure to the golden standard we apply in OneLIMS, and then onboard them and train them on our platform. So they gain more performance increase than just by adapting the software to their processes.
Okay, so you are not just selling software at OneLimbs, because what I understand is that there is some kind of audit, and also you are improving the process, auditing the process, identifying the gaps and the inefficiencies, and I think that's your differentiator. I think in a way to your customer, because it's not trying to fit your software and just, as you said, modify it to adapt to the process that may be the core problem. Maybe at the end, maybe that's not, maybe, okay, there is manual entry data. Okay. But maybe the problem is also the process and how they are tracking things, how they are doing the quality control, etc. And maybe the other software, as you said, the EMS or the ERP, that are connected in the overall structure. So that's also a good way that you are not just, in terms of positioning, OneLimbs is not just a software company selling a solution. You are like a business partner or consulting, if we can say consulting. I know that's a big word, but I think that you are giving that added value to your customer, if I understood right.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So yeah, that's very interesting, because you are selling skills and your expertise on top of the software, which is interesting. The question I would have is, if we go back to the beginning when you onboarded that first customer, and basically that first customer was your first offer, they help you build the software. What were the early, not experiment, but early learnings from developing the software that you discover? Basically, I think you made some assumptions, some hypotheses when discussing with other quality control manager. There was some hypothesis to build that software to have that clickable interfaces, but there were some learnings that you learned from that first customer while building the first version of the product?
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I would make it apart in three parts. So the first of all was for us the learning to be honest and transparent about the product itself, where you are, and to share that on eye level together with the customers you want to approach. So to that point, we thought we have to fake it till we make it. But the best way to approach it at that time was to be honest about the clickable prototype. So this is just to show you which direction it goes. We have a clickable prototype, but nothing more. We will develop it together with you, but we can adapt it to your needs. That's overall the first lesson I learned through that. Because
okay, so just I'm sorry, I'm stopping you there, because I think I have a burning question. So you didn't show, so you showed that interfaces, and you didn't tell them, okay, we have a full solution. It's like, that's just clickable. We have the idea, and we want to develop the product with you, so it's also fits and suits your business need, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I like this approach. That's interesting.
Yes, with the background to make it more generic, to also share the vision about OneLimbs, what it should get as a platform, and that we are in exchange with other customers, and we want to make it as a generic LIMS platform. But we do as everything in what we can to adapt it to your processes, and that you will gain the KPIs and the performance that we are agreed on before. And we make it open and brought them on the journey together with us to have weekly updates, very quick weekly meetings together with the first pilot customers to introduce them what we made so far, what's the progress, what they can test, and get them early access to all new features, new modules, and are very close working together with them. So that's kind of the second lesson. We talked firstly about with the quality managers who are often applied the budget, who are often still reach out to us, but at the end wasn't our user on the lab itself. So they are just the ones who approve the project and are kind of champions, who make the overall project management, but are not actual users of OneLimbs. And we faced that during the first years because we also make some faults about there or fails about that because we listen to quality managers instead of the actual user bases. Actually, the ones who are on daily basis uses OneLimbs. And we implemented a lot of features on our internal roadmap, which I thought would be amazing to have these features in the lab and use them. And listen also to quality managers who just approved the budget and make the overall project management, but didn't use OneLimbs on daily basis. So we introduced features and modules at the end, and nobody used it.
Okay. Yeah, okay, because you were you were speaking with the decision makers, but
Yes.
you were not speaking with the users basically who were bound to use the product at the end. That's right.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so when did you so basically you develop modules that were not used, and when did you find that gap that okay, we are building the roadmap, but we don't know if the user will basically use it. So when did you find that gap, and how did you pivot when you had that realization?
That was nearly 2 to 3 years after launch. So we were already on the road. We had some customers in Switzerland, but there starts also to fail the onboarding. During the onboarding, so we had a timeline for the onboarding. There were max 3 months. And there it happened that some clients are not onboarded even after 6 months. So they delayed the onboarding week by week, month by month. And we ask, what's happened so far? And also on the log itself, on their customer OneLimbs instance, we saw that the users didn't log in, didn't work with OneLimbs overall, and we called them. So, hey, what's up? Why your laboratory team is not using OneLimbs? And they told us it's needs too much clicks, it's too annoying, it's frustrating for the lab team, it's complicated setup. They still went back to Excel and paper because they know how it works and they're much faster than that. So at that point, we also make a step back and make meetings together with all the lab tech teams we had to that point of time, had calls together with the quality managers, with the champion, their decision makers, and the team in one call, and ask one by one, so what's good, what's bad, and what we have to change. And from that round, also we gained a lot of aha moments from the quality managers itself, from their bosses, because till then they didn't understand itself what their team wants and what their team needs. They thought that just out of comfort, they want to go back to their traditional system because they feel comfortable there. And so from that point on, we started to always do our assessment together with the decision maker, even probably some CTOs, IT managers, because it's also an IT project. It depends a little bit on the company structure overall. And very important to have all the users in one call, and everyone can share and get heard. What's their challenge on a daily basis? What's their user requirements, and what they want personally, what they want to achieve, and get their expectations.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, you need to have the stakeholders, but also the users, and try to navigate between them. And as you said, that's an interesting fact that you said, is that even the quality control manager discovered that, okay, I didn't know that my team needed that, or that my team was facing those problems and those issues. So that's interesting. Just going back to the company, so you founded the company in 2016. Now we are in 2026. How big is the team now? So I just want to explore a bit how you handle and you manage the growth of the company so far.
So we are a venture of Modeso. We have also a pool of developers, software developers, engineers, Q&A, and designers out of the Modeso pool, which collaborates with Egypt. So our software developers, a part of them are living in Alexandria, Egypt, and Cairo. And we have project managers for certain customers in Zurich. All of the project managers are in Zurich. Right now we are 16 people overall, so from the team size, and we are handling right now around about 40 customers all around the world.
So yeah, in 10 years, so did you see the growth was steep, or did you see some exponential growth? I'm just curious how you handle that growth of managing that team.
It was very slow, also bootstrapped till today. There is no foreign money or external money which we use, so we bootstrapped it completely. And during the last 3 to 4 years, we see a massive increase of requests based on also the introduction of AI. So we get a lot of requests if we also have AI modules or AI integrations available, because a lot of manufacturers want to use AI. And I have to always to smile a little bit, because you can use for sure AI, but if you still work with paper and Excel macros, it should be not the best way to think about to use AI in the next weeks.
Yeah, it's like you have some step and you are trying to get, to get to the second or third floor with only one step.
Yes. So first of all, mastery the basics to get everything structured, clean out, updated. And then we are happy to introduce and talk about the AI integration and AI usage.
And are you developing AI feature to help, for example, I know that AI could have really strong, where AI is strong is on handling large amount of data and also triage the data and generating reports. Even if you always need to have human in the loop, that's still my take on it, at least with the current state of the models. But are you developing AI feature to even speed up the process on customer, as you said, who have already the basics, so they have one limbs, software running, their process are clean, or at least the cleanest possible, and then that's where you can, I think, in my opinion, that's where you can leverage AI. So are you developing that kind of feature in your roadmap?
Yes, for sure. It gets even more important. And we also see a lot of benefits by meaningful and senseful integrating AI in core products. So where we see a big leverage and a benefit also for our customer is to, within the onboarding, to assess the current state and also to help navigating through the structuring, clean out and update processing. It's kind of annoying about all of the master data, product data, specifications, methods, to update that, consolidate it, and then configure the OneLimbs platform on the industry standard and on the customer requirements. So to make this setup even more straightforward, and also to make it more autodidactic, that the customer can upload their documents through the wizard and OneLimbs get then configured on their own together with the provided documentation and data which the customers upload. That's one part. The other part is for reporting, to get out of anomalies related to trend analysis. This is a very important part, to see shifts, to flip the script from be more proactive quality control during production to be more a preventive quality control. To have everything already beforehand and see also based on the raw material entry quality control tests, what the end product probably could be risky or could happen to the end product overall. This is more predictive.
So yeah, you're shifting the paradigm with AI from having something that is more less proactive, but more predictive in terms of the trend and the issue or the quality issue they could see if they are not acting on this set of data, for example.
Exactly, yeah. Because the worst case is to make a recall out of the market. If you push a food product to the market, which is spoiled, microbiology, Salmonella, Listeria, which could be harmful, lead to death in the worst case, and you have to recall it, it needs a lot of money. And also the reputation is broken.
Yeah, reputation, brand, extra, yeah. Okay, that's very interesting. And when did you start to implement AI into the future, into the feature set of OneLimbs?
The foundation included in core product was 1.5 years ago. we start to think about to implement it. But at that time, we didn't know exactly what kind of benefits our users are gaining from and how we can implement it in a AI in a useful way. Because are a lot of AI wrappers out there, but for really business benefits, still there are only a few use cases which are somehow beneficial for the business world.
Okay, I think we are close on the time, so I will ask one more question. I like always to ask is, if you could go back in time at the time you started the company, what would be the advice you would give to yourself back then? The one or two advice you need to choose.
Listen more closely and ask better question, probably to add also.
It's related, I think. So when you say listen more carefully, it's listen to the customer?
Yes.
Okay.
To the
So listen
users, basically, as mentioned before, listen to ones who really use OneLimbs.
Okay, and the last question, from what you learn building and growing OneLimbs in the last 10 years, what would be the more general advice for founders now who are thinking of starting their company or building on their idea, or who are already in the 2 years of building their company? What will be the one advice that you would give them? And you can reuse listen more carefully.
Nice. No, I would say stick to the vision, but be flexible on the road. So I could never imagine where I am or where we are as a OneLimbs team overall today. If I think back where we started from and what kind of ideas we had, what kind of dream customers we had, and kind of the expectation how the product must look like. And we are pivoting a lot on the way, but still stick to the vision to provide transparent, streamlined, structured quality control limbs that makes quality work and quality work overall more safe and faster.
Okay, so please go on. No, please go on.
I would say stick to the vision, but be flexible on the way to don't be ashamed to pivot.
Okay, so it's more sticking to the long-term vision, to the core value and to the mission of the company, and don't care much, if I can say that, don't care much about how you will get there. You will have, your journey will be not straightforward,
Bumpy.
but that will be bumpy. You will need to pivot, etc. But stick to the vision and to the mission of the company. That's if I sum it up.
Yes, very good.
I like,
sum up.
that's a really useful advice. I think it's like, having that good vision for the company, so you can steer the ship, if I can say that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good advice. Okay, so we are already late on the time, so I will just ask the final question is, what is next for OneLimbs? And the second one is, where can people follow you and follow OneLimbs, where, if they want to reach out?
Okay, I'll make it quick about that. So we are developing a smart recipe platform next to OneLimbs, would be also integrated as a module. We have get funding last year from InnoSwiss, so it's an innovation project. We also have pilot customers already and collaborate in the development of the algorithms together with the Zurich University of Applied Science. Wrapped up in one sentence, Smart Recipe will help manufacturers dealing with variety of raw material qualities to determine and also estimate the impact on the recipe itself and suggest an optimized recipe based on the quality of the raw materials overall. This will be then the next usable step in between all of this manufacturing IT ecosystem. To your second point, I would be happy to follow me, Philipp Osterwalder, on LinkedIn, and also to follow us as OneLimbs on LinkedIn. Otherwise, get to our website. We have case studies, we have white papers, and also Limbs Buyer's Guide. If some of the listeners want to get into the rabbit hole of limbs. So we'll provide everything on onelimbs.com.
Okay, I will add the link to the show for sure, so people can follow and can go down the the rabbit hole. Okay, thanks, Philip, for sharing your insight. It was really interesting to talk about that new market and how you grow the company and how you started the company, which is already really interested. So thank you, Philip, for joining the show.
Thank you very much for having me. Again, it was very pleasure and very sympathetic to exchange. Looking forward to hear more of you. And probably we hear us again in a couple of years to get an update.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe to the Founders Cookbook and see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.